to be yours as well. Whether it's tailgating, a wedding celebration, or a simple Wednesday night meal that you don't have to prepare, Chef James builds the platform for an incredible dining experience. And with a wide variety of styles and influences, you can be sure Chef will have the perfect menu ready for whatever your needs are. Oh, and by the way, fellas, looking for a romantic date night idea? Chef James offers private chef services as well. Think about it, just you, your significant other, and a beautifully prepared meal all in the comfort of your own home. Check out Harris Made Chef Services now on Facebook at Harris-Made or give Chef a call at 609-816-5629 to discuss your culinary needs. What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another live fan reaction show presented by Harris Made Chef Services. I want to give a big thanks to James Harris and the folks at let's try this again. I'm all over the place right now. Harris Made Chef Services. Go give them a look on Facebook at Harris-Made on Facebook, and we really appreciate James and everything he does for our team and bringing this show to you guys each week. So I've let you guys stew on this 3-1 Razorback football team, and really excited about what we got to see this weekend. And again, sorry I'm a few days late. I had to get out of town for a couple of days this weekend, which was a lot of fun. And we can talk about that too. You want to know anything about some backwoods off-road trails in Colorado? I can probably tell you a little bit of something about them now. We had a good time. Just got away, and had some time with nature and ourselves out in the middle of nowhere, so that was a lot of fun. And but back, got to watch the Hogs from the Mile High City, so that was a lot of fun. And I'm sure my the hotel guests around me weren't very happy with all my screaming and hooping and hollering. But as a Hog fan, we haven't had a whole lot of opportunities to scream and holler and be happy about it. So it was a lot of fun. Definitely enjoyed that. So. You guys hit the comments up. You guys make sure you share the show, and let me know you're out there and where you're watching from. And let's talk about what we saw this past weekend. I know we're a couple days past when everything happened, but man, a lot of fun. I'll have the highlights up, of course, War Machine on YouTube. We'll get those highlights up here in just a few minutes, and we can kind of go through some of that. But again, man, y'all hit me up in the comments. Tell me what you loved about the game. Who was your player of the game this week? I'm going to hop over here onto the stats real quick, and we'll just get things going before we really get into let me move that out of the way there. Before we get into the highlights and stuff. So Felipe Franks maybe took a little step back this week, I think. 21 of 34, good completion percentage, 244 yards. He had one touchdown. Had the interception, a QBR of only 26.9. Wasn't a great day, really, for Felipe overall. Really wasn't a great day for the offense in general. The really disappointing thing I think about this team was the lack of any kind of consistency out of the running game, which was a little bit frustrating. When you look at the numbers there, we ran for 150. We ran for 3.1 yards a carry. It was obviously enough for the offense to get some, to score some points and keep Arkansas ahead. But obviously the story of this game and so far this season is Barry Odom's defense and how well they've done. And so, when you look at the offensive stats, and we'll get into this a little more, but, one of the more frustrating things, I guess, for most of us as Hog fans was we really expected, if you listen to Tyler Davis and I preview the game on the High on the Hogs podcast, I think one of our number one things we said was run the dang ball. And Arkansas tried, but 3.1 yards per carry is just not going to get it done, against really good SEC teams. So would really like to see this running game pick up. Felipe made a couple of questionable decisions there in that game that hurt Arkansas, especially early, kept Ole Miss in the game. But, overall, when you look at the numbers, Traylon Smith leads the way, 15 carries, 54 yards, averaged 3.6 yards a carry. Rakeem Boyd only averaged 2.8 yards per carry with a long of 8. The emergence of Traylon Smith has been huge for this team because obviously they need a guy, and Traylon has definitely stepped up to become that guy. Traylon Burks with 11.5 yards per carry, had 4 carries for 46 yards. No question, offensively, Traylon Burks was the player of the game. He was the best player on the football field. I've seen some arguments on social media from some Ole Miss fans trying to say that Elijah Moore was better, and that's just not even close to fact. Traylon Burks was the best football player on the field, and it wasn't even close. He also added 11 catches for 137 yards and a touchdown, including that absolutely ridiculous catch in the back corner of the end zone. That was SportsCenter's SEC play of the or number one play of the day for Saturday. So big time there. Of course, Jalen Catalon recovered a fumble. Felipe Franks had the only Arkansas fumble. On the defensive side, where we just keep getting guys that are getting the accolades this week. Grant Morgan, 19 tackles, 5 solos, 1 sack, 3 tackles for loss, 2 passes defended, and the game-clinching pick 6. Grant Morgan was really unbelievable. Joe Fouché had another big game, 10 total tackles, 2 solo. Jalen Catalon with a pick 6. He just continues to have an amazing season so far. I've been really impressed watching Jalen. 9 tackles and 3 solo. So, big time there. Miles Mason had a big game, 9 tackles. Hayden Henry had a big game at linebacker with no bumper pull, who had 8 tackles. Greg Brooks Jr. is another guy. But here's a guy that I think – and I should have pulled the video up. I might see if I can find it here in a minute. But here's a guy that I think we've all been wowed by over the last 2 weeks of the season, and that's Hudson Clark. So Hudson Clark comes into this game, and really no one knew who Hudson Clark was. A walk-on from Highland Park, just a guy that nobody knew anything about. He gets his opportunity because Busta Brown gets hurt, and all he's done is just take off and become a lockdown defender, and then turns around and gets 3 interceptions on Saturday. And, of course, that prompts Sam Pittman to let the world know that he'll be on scholarship come January. So congratulations to Hudson Clark. Big-time player, big-time. No one expected this, and I think it's funny when you see the Sam Pittman comments in the press conference when they asked about Hudson Clark, and his response was, in fact, no one knew him, and his response was gold when he said, well, I think they know him now at least 3 times. So, Hudson Clark's been nothing short of absolutely amazing. When you start looking at guys on the defense to give game balls to, obviously Grant Morgan, Joe Fouché, Jalen Catalon, Hudson Clark's right up there. Julius Coates was a guy that was in the backfield all day. Julius has been a guy that's been a little bit, in the doghouse. He's had a couple of tough games, and so to see Julius really come out and have a big game was huge. Zach Williams is another guy, and Eric Gregory on the defensive end. Those are guys that nobody's talking about, but they're just having special seasons so far. But this defense is just absolutely incredible. You look at what this team has done defensively, and it's just nothing short of amazing. Again, Hudson Clark, 3 interceptions. Jalen Catalon had 1 for the pick 6. Grant Morgan had 1 as a pick 6. Greg Brooks Jr. had 1. 6 total interceptions, and I think that's right that the number of turnovers that the number of interceptions that Arkansas had on Saturday was more than they had all of last season. So pretty incredible when you start thinking about the numbers and what Arkansas did in this game. So let's see. Let me hop over here. Looks like we might have some comments going. So let me jump in here. So James Harris, welcome back. Thanks, James. Let's see. William Morris stunk at coaching, but he did get us some good young talent. Look, man, of course, we all have our reason for disliking Chad Morris. My number one reason for hating Chad Morris is that, obviously what he did to the program. He's obviously not a head coach. He's not head coaching material. He hired a crap staff. He hired a bunch of fools, and then comes in here and takes over a program that he runs in the dirt. One thing he can do, and we've known this even from his Clemson days, even at SMU, the guy can evaluate talent. He knows how to find talent, but his issue is knowing how to use that talent. So, for all the hate that we're going to give Chad Morris, and rightfully so, because the reason I hate Chad Morris is the guy gets fired and then leaves and is acted like it's something personal, like he didn't have enough time to build this program, when in reality, when you see what's going on right now on the field, it's obviously coaching. These are the same guys. I made the comment on social media. If you follow me on Twitter, and if you don't, I don't know why you don't, but it's at Steve_NSS. Get over there and give me a follow. But, I made the point on Twitter while I was watching it that I love this defense, but there's nothing special about this defense. There's absolutely nothing special about, there's some special pieces. Jalen Catalon obviously is a special piece, big time player, and they've got some talent. Monteric Brown, and let me go ahead and say this too, because I owe some guys an apology, and I'm going to be on the apology tour all week long, I think. But Grant Morgan, Hayden Henry, those guys that are playing linebacker and playing like every single snap, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I ever said you guys weren't SEC linebackers along with some other folks. They may not have the size, but you cannot beat what they're doing on the field. I think this is the first. I don't know how long. I'd have to go back and look at the stats. Maybe somebody knows the answer to this question, but looking back at it, I don't know that we've ever had a season where we had two linebackers named to the Bednarik Best Player of the Year or Best Player of the Week award. I don't think we've ever had that. Not at linebacker. I mean, it's just crazy to see the numbers that these linebackers are putting out. So, huge props to guys like Grant Morgan, Hayden Henry, Bumper Pool, who missed this game, and what they've been able to do so far. But my point was, these are just dudes being dudes. Like, this isn't guys this isn't a defense full of 5 stars. This isn't a defense that's able to rotate in. Look at Georgia, they can rotate in like 4 defensive lines throughout a game. We're playing linebackers that are having to play nearly every snap of the game. A guy like Grant, like I said, Grant Morgan's out there playing with one arm and making huge plays. He would have 2, if he had 2 good arms, he'd had 2 interceptions in that game. And so, I mean, the heart, the effort, we didn't see this from these guys the last couple of years. Whether it was trust in coaching or what it was, what we've seen over the last 2 weeks or over this entire season is nothing short of amazing. Barry Odom, give the man his due, give the man some money because he deserves every dime of it. I mean, the guy's been unbelievably special. What he's been able to do and the belief that he's put in this defense to be special. And I mean, I can't blame him. I wouldn't blame the university for giving Barry Odom whatever he wants at this point. We'll get into this. Andy and I will get into this on the podcast this week, which we'll be recording tomorrow night. I got everything like way laid back with this week. With a bye week, coming off vacation, we're recording things a little bit late this week. But yeah, so Andy and I are going to talk about, that situation. Sorry, looking over here over to some of these comments. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can. It can't be overstated just how special this defense has played, and I think the word is already getting out that I guess the fear, the concern that Barry Odom may go somewhere after this year, and I don't think that's going to happen. But listen to the podcast this week. If you're not subscribed, High on the Hogs, HAWGS, and hop over there. And make sure you listen this week. Of course, Andy and I, we will discuss the Barry Odom situation over there. And so as I look through some more comments here, William says, Burks wasn't exactly a hog lock before Morris and Stepp visited him. Pretty sure he was headed to LSU. I mean, possibly. I followed Burks' recruiting. He was very quiet. He didn't talk a whole lot about what he was going to do. I think he always had an affinity for Arkansas, and that's where he wanted to be. But I don't think there's any question that the hiring of Chad Morris and Justin Stepp probably played a big role because the offense that they were selling was really exciting. So, I mean, I think Chad Morris did a great job in recruiting him. And the one thing, again, that we can say is Chad Morris did a wonderful job recruiting people. It's just putting them on the field in the places where they need to be. So, let's see. Yeah, I don't want to get into that a whole lot. Kids make mistakes. I'm going to agree with Aaron Weatherford if you're in the comments here talking about the player that was arrested for basically a DWI on Saturday night. Not making light of any of those legal issues, but kids make mistakes. Kids do stupid things. We all did. I mean, if I would have gotten caught for all the stupid things I did as a kid, I probably wouldn't be sitting here doing this show. So maybe I'll be lucky and wouldn't have to look at my ugly face. But I don't want to get into those things. The only reason that's even a story is because of the last name. I made the point on social media, again, if you don't follow me, at Steve_NSS on Twitter. But I made the point on social media as well, that I would love to be a fly on the wall in that disciplinary meeting. Like, could you imagine your dad being the AD and then your head coach is Sam Pittman and you got to go sit in that room with those two? No. But I'd love to be a fly on the wall to hear that conversation. So yeah, I'm not going to get into all that. I don't like talking. I mean, these guys make mistakes. It's not my job. It's not our job as people to run them down or report that kind of stuff. I mean, it was a stupid decision. He'll pay for it. He'll get the proper, whatever he needs to have happen here, it'll happen, whether it be through the football program, the legal system, whatever, But look, we all make stupid, dumb mistakes, and I'm thankful that our police departments have better things to do than to go back and research everything I ever did that was dumb, because I'd be in trouble, and just like a lot of people here. So yeah, hate it. I hate that the guy was doing some stupid stuff and celebrating like he was, but hey. It's good to be able to celebrate, right? I mean, it's a great thing after a Razorback win to get guys, be able to celebrate. Let's just do it right. Let's not get COVID. Let's not, that's really my bigger concern is where's this guy running around to and who's he around, and are you potentially, infecting your team with COVID on a season that you're doing really well? So, yeah. Terry Roy says Chad sold lies. Man, there's no doubt. Used car salesman, dude. That's what he did. You look at, I think I read a stat today that even at Auburn right now, their passing game is one of the worst in the country. They're averaging 10 points less per game right now than they did last year against SEC competition. They're just not good, and it's the Chad Morris effect. The talent's great there. Bo Nix is good. He's a good quarterback. They got, Tank Bigsby's a great running back. We saw what he did to us. He ran all over us, doing what Malzahn wants to do, which is run the ball, set up the pass. Doesn't seem like Chad has any idea how to do any of those things. He doesn't know how to game plan. He doesn't know how to put players in the right spots. And, So, Aaron Weatherford, man, I'm glad you asked that. We made an announcement earlier today, but I'm glad because I need to make that announcement. Yes. We will be back in Maumelle. So, will you guys have a game of the week this Friday? The broadcast has been awesome. We really appreciate you guys joining us. This is my first time to ever do play-by-play, so I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. Had a lot of fun doing it. Yes, we will be back at it this week at Maumelle again. Excited to have Whitehall at Maumelle. Get to watch Bobby Bolden's squad come in. A couple of really good coaches. Coach Horton got his work cut out for him as they've had some COVID issues over the last couple of weeks and haven't been able to play, so they're finally back on the field, and we're ecstatic to be back out there calling another game at Maumelle. Those facilities are absolutely gorgeous. Let's see. Will there be a broadcast for JHS Friday night? There will not, and I'm assuming... Is that Jacksonville or Jonesboro? We've done both. But no, the broadcast will be from Maumelle this week. I really appreciate you guys, reaching out. Keep that coming. We hope to be able to offer more of these streams to more programs. And so, please make sure that you guys are mentioning this to your athletic directors that you'd like for us to come back. And of course, we're always looking for sponsorships. We offer these things at no cost. And so, that's been really, really tough. Or not really tough, but it's been great to be able to offer those at no cost. But if you'd like to help support the stream, we'd love anything we can get. So Jonesboro, yeah. So next one, I'm not sure. I'd have to look at the schedule. I know we don't have them scheduled any for the next couple of weeks. Season's about to be wrapping up, so we're going to be looking at some playoff matchups and options. And we'll look at that. We're really appreciative to all of those programs that have had us. Getting back over to the comments, Ricky Knighton, what's your opinion on why our run game hasn't produced like was expected? It's interesting. I had a conversation, a little bit of a conversation with my brother, and he was an offensive lineman in high school, and he knows the position pretty well. I think part of it, what he was saying, what he saw a lot of was just still a lack of strength. They seem to have moments where they can pass block really well, but it's that push. They're not getting the leverage, and they're not able to get the push and get guys off the line. And so it seems like every time they go to hand the ball off, someone's in the backfield. I also wonder about Rakeem Boyd, and I know he's not 100. We all know he's not 100% healthy. But Rakeem just doesn't seem to see the field well. He doesn't seem to see the holes. He always seems to kind of to hesitate and find the wrong spot. And I wonder if that's part of it, obviously just not hitting the right holes, not trusting your blocking. And I mean, for Rakeem, a guy that didn't see much great blocking last year, he had some, ups and downs at A&M. So to me, I think a big part of it is just strength. You're still trying to build strength in that position group. I think they've done a pretty good job of getting a good cohesive group together. I think obviously at the center position they're much more solid than they were. I think on the left side of the line they're pretty good. But again, I think it's a push and a leverage thing right now. It was really disappointing to see the run game struggle against a really bad run defense at Ole Miss. That was super frustrating. And so, we'd like to see them do better. Hopefully this week, they'll work on some things with this bye week because A&M's got a strong defensive front, and Arkansas will have a tough time running in that game. And until this offense can run the football, the passing game's just not going to be there. Let's see. Terry Roy says Catalon should have started last year. Yeah, I don't know. I wish he would have. I've loved the guy since they brought him on, but I do wonder if, Will mentions this here in the comments as well. I do wonder if that has anything to do with, that ACL injury and trying to come back from that. I think a lot of people expected a lot from Burks last year. We really anticipated that, that Morris and those guys would use him properly and kind of the way that Briles is using him this year. And again, he was coming off a knee injury, so we don't know. Now, Terry, I know that you have a little more insight into some of the things that have happened up there, but I think that at the end of the day, I'm not sure that, I don't know where Catalon was health-wise. Obviously, I think they really screwed up in how they just mismanaged his redshirt year. Thankfully, he gets that built back in this year with COVID. I don't think it's going to matter because I think he's going to be drafted in another year anyway. Talent-wise, absolutely should have started last year. And I can't question anyone that says that because we can question every single decision Chad Morris and that staff ever made. So, yeah, should he have started? I think from a talent perspective, yes. Now, the question is how healthy, how much did he trust that knee? Because I think there were times last year, even with Treylon Burks, that we saw him not trust that knee and trust that situation, and that may have been why he faltered some. Now, obviously, again, coaching was a major part of that. I do think that the ACL injury for Catalon and the recovery was probably part of that, much like it was with Burks. And, Boyd's been down. Terry says, I do think he's healthy. I'm assuming you're responding to the Boyd, my comment about Boyd. I do think he's hurt, but I'm with you. I don't think he's not the best running back on this team. Right now, Traylon Smith is the best running back on this team, and is a much better player. So let's do this. Let's jump over. Let me get my stuff back up over here, and we'll hop into these highlights real quick.
I think that's right.
Let me keep this turned down a little bit. So, speaking of Jalen Catalon, right there with the big hit early, knocked Elijah Moore out for a little bit. And this is one of Ole Miss's 7 turnovers coming up here. Not understanding the dive there by Snoop and why he made the dive there. But this defense, how many times over the last couple of years have we just begged this defense to make defensive stops, and they haven't been able to? And they were the more physical team, and that's even more impressive. That's even more exciting to me for this team, is that they're the more physical team week in and week out. Outside of Georgia, and even in that game in the first half, we were the more physical team. So it's been really cool to see that. It's been a lot of fun to be able to see this team do what they've been able to do defensively. It's just special. We see here as Arkansas, after a 3-and-out on their first drive, they're finally able to move the ball down the field. Did a really good job of getting the ball to this guy right here. Treylon Burks is that's just special. Dude's just got so much speed, able to get to that corner. Wish he could have gotten the end zone there, but just a fantastic, phenomenal job by him. And then Rakeem Boyd punches it in there from a couple of yards out for Arkansas's first touchdown. And, at this point, okay, maybe the running game's going to get some things done. We're excited. We think, okay, maybe, this is where this team's really going to get some stuff rocking and rolling. And, again, defensively, you see here, I believe that's going to be Coates with another big sack. And like I said, I was really impressed with Coates because Coates has really struggled here early in the season. He's had some disciplinary issues, some other things. So, been really, really impressed with him. But, the amount of pressure Arkansas was able to get. And if you listen to our preview pod, with myself and Tyler Davis, one thing that concerned me in this game was whether or not, our linebackers could hold up against Corral, and more so if they played Rice Plumlee, which shockingly they didn't, which I think was a questionable decision by Lane Kiffin. And so, As you look here, this was a couple of really good creative plays. I thought at times Briles was kind of finding his rhythm and finding a groove on the offensive side of the ball, but I just felt like there were some plays here or there that didn't get executed very well. Of course, this is a great play by Hudson Clark. His first pick of the game. Just an unbelievably great play. Wynn knocks that ball down a little bit, but impressive play there. This is something I wish they'd do. I'm going to pause this. I want to go back a little more. Mike Woods is probably the best route runner on this football team. And I saw this play was open a lot, and I wish that they would run it more, especially off of that zone read in this quick slant. These linebackers are falling in every time, and you're watching Mike Woods. Mike Woods runs this slant route better than just about anybody that Arkansas has ever had. He's not afraid to go across the middle and take a hit. He'll take the pounding. But this is a great play. And a great throw. He puts that right in the window. It's the only place the throw could go, as you had a linebacker and a defensive back there. But great throw by Franks as well to get that to get that completion. This was an interesting play, and I think something that Burks learned from his just toss it up interception back in week 1 or week 2, whenever that was. That was a great decision by Treylon to bring that down, even though he had a guy that looked wide open. So, of course, here we go with finally got some special teams going a little bit, got the field goal in. So let's see, jump over here. William Watkins we can get Burks, Warren, and Knox going. Our offense can be very explosive. And then here's Catalon jumping that route, man. He's just a special dude, and could not have been more excited to see him get in the end zone there. That's big time for number 1. And just, again, dudes being dudes, really, really impressed there. I agree, man. If they can get Knox going as part of that receiving group, but I think the key is the running game. I think Knox has had his issues. I don't know what those issues are, why he's not catching the ball, why he's not getting a lot of playing time. I don't know if that's focus. I don't know if that's scheme. I don't know, because he's not the same player as he was last year. But I think more than anything, you got to get the running game going, and it'll give that opportunity. There's Fouché. Boy, he lived in the backfield. Another guy that just played just really, really well on defense. 4th down here. Again, Arkansas gets fortunate on a pass behind Moore there. Could have been a first down. Blair doing the things that I hate, sitting there chirping on a play you really didn't do anything. It was just a throw behind a guy. But here's another. Look at Grant Morgan. just all over the football field. Grant Morgan's just unstoppable. So, and again, Hayden Henry, another guy in the backfield there. That's huge. I keep screaming, Boyd sucks in the gun. I don't know. I don't even think it's the shotgun, man. I just think it's. I just think he's not seeing the field well. And again, because Treylon Smith seems to work out of it a lot better. Get another one of those little creative plays to get the ball to Burks with the multiple option opportunity there. I like some of the creativity that Briles is coming up with. Some of it takes a little too long, but I want to show you something, and we'll look at this here for a second. I haven't even really gone over this, but Aaron Weatherford, you jump back in here, and we're asking about the blocking. But you see here, Franks has a good pocket here, and as long as these offensive linemen don't have to get much push, they just got to build a pocket. I think that's where they're most comfortable at. Part of that, I think, is the fact that last year Chad Morris slimmed all these guys down. He didn't put a lot of emphasis on weight management or on being big and strong. He wanted quick linemen. He wanted to be able to move. He wanted linemen that could move quickly. And so it's a different style that what Sam Pittman wants. Sam Pittman still wants speed out of his offensive linemen, but he wants guys, road grader type guys that can do both. A lot of offensive linemen can't do both. You need one or two guys that can really do both, that you can trust and you can lean on. But again, you see here where the offensive line, they've set up a good pocket for Franks. He's able to step up, into a good clean pocket, makes a really good throw, and we'll find a running play here in just a minute. And so of course he finds Tyson Morris there on a great play. And, of course, we're going to get a field goal here. But yeah, I think that's the bigger key. I just think it's a lack of strength on the offensive line. I think, it's something that those guys are going to pick up as we get. There's a lot of youth still on that offensive line. And so I think it's just things that guys are going to get a lot better at as they go forward. This is a great play. Look at Grant Morgan again, just all over the place in the backfield. Let's see. Catalon can be a first-round top 30 pick in the future. No doubt. He'll be a first-rounder. And Andy Gates, you have to have a running game. One-dimensional does not work. You're 100% right. That's the key. This team just has to figure out how to run the football. And it's going to come. Again, I think once you can get this offensive line, in a better position and a little stronger, a little more cohesive, we've been fortunate to stay really healthy, and that's helped a ton. And so, I definitely think that, as they continue to do that the running game will get better. This, again, another great defensive possession as Arkansas does a phenomenal job of just shutting. I mean, this ball, when he snaps this ball, he is snapping that ball from inside the end zone. And you see that's Hayden Henry and Greg Brooks Jr. that are collapsing on that play. Just another great defensive. I don't think we've seen this. The number of defensive stands we saw over the last couple of games, I don't think we've seen that many out of Arkansas in, I don't know, the last 3 or 4 years total. It was a given touchdown. If a team got inside the 5-yard line, if a team got across midfield, it seemed like it was a given touchdown against Arkansas the last couple of years. So, Arkansas, a little bend, don't break, but I saw another argument on social media the other day, or earlier today, about somebody talking about Arkansas getting 420 some odd yards. And let's go back. I want to show you something else here too that really hurts things. Again, I thought this is another good pocket. The only problem with this play is, let me go back and see if I can catch it. The only problem with this play is right there. So you look at 5, that's Rakeem Boyd. His only job is to block the blitzer, and he whiffs terribly. This was a big play, but this could have been a huge play. If Franks does a great job to avoid the sack, it was already 1st and 15. You're talking about a potential 2nd down and 25, if you don't have a guy like Franks who steps around the side. So this was a great play by Franks as Boyd just gets whipped, and then Franks is going to step up and then makes a bad play on the fumble. This was one of the bad decisions. Franks has got to throw that ball away, but it was compounded from the start. The play got taken out of rhythm from the beginning because of Rakeem Boyd laying on the ground, missing a block, and then allowing the same guy to come back and make a big play on the strip. So it's a great play, but then the defense turns around and makes a great play of their own to get the ball back and to stop Ole Miss from scoring. So we got fortunate there. Scott McClellan, we are no longer the doormat. Man, that's such a great thing. There's how the defense gets the ball right back thanks to Greg Brooks Jr. One of the 6 interceptions that Arkansas was able to force on Saturday. That was also extremely impressive. I'm really surprised that Lane Kiffin stuck with Corral the entire game. I'm just really surprising to me that they went that route. So, again, as you watch Arkansas trying quick hitters, you just know you got to get the ball to these guys in space as quick as possible. I'm trying to find a running play here just to, try to give an idea. I mean, again, you see there, even as in a zone read situation, the ball's picked off, but you see here in a zone read, let me go back a little bit. You see the amount of pressure that Franks is seeing on this play. And so right here, again, this is why our running plays are getting blown up. You've got 3 defensive linemen. There's no pocket here anymore on a zone read. And your zone, you've got a guy open. You've got Warren here open. The problem is Ole Miss is able to just completely collapse the middle of the offensive line because, again, this is an offensive line that's not getting any push. The line of scrimmage is midfield, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 Ole Miss Rebels that are across midfield. The deepest one is 4 yards into the backfield. You have no pocket here. This is the same issue that's happening with the running game, is that these guys are not getting a push. You mean, obviously, in a passing situation, you should be somewhere right here around this line of scrimmage. They're not getting any push. This offensive line's not getting any push, and when we're not getting any push, that's what's killing our chances of the running game getting going. So again, this causes Franks to throw the ball behind Warren. Ball gets tipped, and a great play by the I think it was a linebacker or defensive back that makes the interception here to stick with the ball. That's defensive back safety there. So SEC now just said Razorbacks are number 2 or 3 in the West. I mean, you can't argue with it right now. They absolutely are. I mean, who are you putting ahead of us in the West? And another Hudson Clark, man. Just I don't think you realize just how great this play is. Give this guy. This guy. Okay, again, you got a guy on an out route. It's not a terrible throw. It's a little behind the receiver, but this is the recognition. I've seen. I don't remember who it was. One of the defensive players on Twitter the other day was talking about how it's like, he's like, it's crazy. He's like, this staff is amazing at preparing us. We know every play before it happens. And I mean, you saw Bo Nix in the Auburn game come off the field screaming at Chad Moore saying they know what we're doing. it's unbelievable how well Barry Odom is preparing this team. But that play by Hudson Clark, that's phenomenal. Again, we use that word a lot for this kid, but a freshman walk-on, and my goodness, that's just, it's crazy how good that kid is, and hopefully he just continues to develop into a great corner and can get himself drafted. Be a heck of a story. So there, obviously, Fouché out of position. Leaves guy wide open, and at this point we're sweating a little bit. I know in our group chat, we were sweating this, thinking if Arkansas doesn't do something soon, we're in trouble. Another creative way to try to get Burks the ball, and then Burks just doing Burks things. First down, there, just he's just unstoppable. I mean, the guy just not one guy's going to tackle him. And again, here's Franks, and this is a great play, man. To be able to find Burks on that play, to scramble out a lot of pressure on that one, did not block that one very well. So great play there, and then of course 3rd and 1. This is where Arkansas would love to be able to run it, but we can't. But instead, we get the play of the day. That's an unbelievable catch. I'm going to go back. I know this is probably going to be replayed a couple of times. I'm going to go back. I'm going to give you full sound on this one because this is too good. I'm going to just shut up and let y'all listen to this one.
Play instead. It's 3rd and 1. Franks throwing. Franks to the end zone, and it was caught for a touchdown. Burks with an amazing catch.
Wow. He may have the biggest hands in college football, and he needed them here. Look at this. Big paw goes up, pulls it in, foot down, control. He had that left hand underneath the ball so that his hand is between the ball and the ground. So any slight movement is okay. What a catch.
How many receivers in college football could have caught that ball the way it was thrown?
His hands are larger than 10 inches across the width.
Dude, they can't reach time.
Just absolutely incredible, man. That catch is just, Scott McClellan's got it right, as Paul Eels would say, oh my, and he did. I mean, it was, look at Hudson Clark here. I mean, we talk about the 3 interceptions, but Clark is in there blowing plays up in the backfield. I mean, the dude is just all over. And he's got great size. When you look at him, he looks like a corner. He's just a football player. That was the other interception that Morgan could have had if he had 2 good arms. Unfortunately, got the left elbow all banged up. See, go back to the comments over here real quick before we continue on. Freak Clark is a freak. Yeah, Hudson Clark is absolutely a freak. Will says if we beat A&M, we go 6-4. Losses to Bama and Florida. Yeah, I mean, anything can happen. I mean, if we can beat A&M, yeah, 6-4, 7-3. I mean, I don't think that anybody's unbeatable. Now, I'm not going to sit here and start to say, we're going to beat Bama, we're going to beat Florida, we're going to beat all these good teams. Arkansas still got plenty of deficiencies, and who knows? I mean, how many more injuries can this Arkansas team really sustain? But you beat A&M, and sure, 6-4 is all over the table. I think 7-3 is on the table. And that would really be 8-1 or 8-2. Sorry, because we're actually 3-1 right now. Let's see. I think Burks bailed Browse out several times this week, and had they overturned that, the fans there would have revolted. They'd have rushed the officials wouldn't have been able to leave without some sort of guard. Wild. So a great play here by Morgan. Almost had the interception. This play right here. Now let's just talk about this before it happens. I do not understand for the life of me. And then we're going back to this Scott Fountain-led special teams unit. Why in the world you are not in safe punt zone here blows my mind. There's no reason in the world why this play should have happened in this game. This was probably the most frustrating point in this game. Even though the offense struggled, you knew what was coming here. This is Lane Kiffin on the other side, for goodness sakes. It's 4th down. And I'm looking at, and I'm in a hotel room with my wife and her friend, and we're sitting there watching the game, and I'm like, they're going to fake this. Like, you got to know there's a fake coming. There's not enough time. There's 6.5 minutes in the game, and Ole Miss hasn't been able to move the ball on us. This is the perfect way for Ole Miss to get some to get a little bit of momentum on their side. So, yeah, do everything you can to avoid. And this wasn't even a sneaky fake. He just shifted the guy over, he catches it, and he runs for 50-something yards. Like, this just made no sense. So, again, almost a great tackle in the backfield. But Arkansas was so far out of position on this, and it's just so inexcusable. And the crazy thing was, you looked at the guy like Warren, and he didn't even act like he knew the ball was coming. So just crazy that, just crazy they allowed that to happen, which allowed Ole Miss to get back in this game and make it a little scary there late. Again, Arkansas unable to put enough offense together to run the clock out. But this team's just not built for that yet. But this defense, it is built for that. This defense is built to hold some leads and to get wins. And we did it. We did it this week, and this was a big part. I think this is the play here. Yeah. So I think I was calling this one too before it happened, and I'm going to go ahead and I'll shut up again and let you guys listen to this before I get back over to the comments.
Now, why not get it to that guy? Traylon Burks breaks a tackle.
Play, here we go.
And got them the ball.
Hand off.
Went a little too far back.
Good play.
But I mean, if you watch what Morgan does here, he knows what's coming. Just a fantastic play. And then to make a couple of moves here. Nice little move there to get past the guy to get the touchdown. And watch Lane Kiffin, and his responses are just fantastic. His reactions are awesome. So just an incredible pick six by Grant Morgan, and you got to know just the way he's playing. And again, I apologize, man, if you've listened to our podcast and or any of these shows, you've listened to me kind of talk down about some of these linebackers for Arkansas. I apologize. I was wrong, man. These guys are something. Again, dudes being dudes, and that's what they're doing. Get back over here in the comments real quick. Josh Wilbanks says, hi. Hey, Josh, appreciate you joining us tonight. Hey, y'all make sure you share the show. We'll be back to a more regular time here as we get throughout the week, but or throughout these next few weeks. Obviously, we won't have a show this week because of the bye week, but we appreciate you guys joining us. And Scott McClellan, they are no longer circling their calendars for an easy win. That's a testament to what Broyles. What am I saying here? Another Hudson Clark interception there. I was hoping he was going to run that back. That had just been cherry on top right there. Matt Corral going off all dejected. But, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's a testament to what it's a huge testament to what Pittman's been able to do up there so far. And this is just the physicality, the toughness of this team. It's something special. Traylon Smith, I think everybody wishes that Arkansas gets in the end zone here. I think even all the players were begging for him to go for it there, and I can't blame them. But there's not a better way. You think about this, and I remember being at that game at the Texas Bowl, the borderline erotic game, and being able to take a knee. There's one thing to be said about running the score up. Sure, 40-21 would have made all us fans feel so much better. Not really feel better, but we'd have been beating our chest a little more if we're up 40-21. But it is the ultimate show of defeat. It's the ultimate, almost like kicking the nuts kind of situation when you are at the 1 yard line and you take a knee and basically tell the other team, look, we're giving you mercy at this point because we could be up 40-21 and make this look really ugly. And so I had absolutely no problem with the decision to not go for it there, not to go for the end zone, just because, hey, there's two different ways to look at this. You can look at this as trying to run the score up and embarrass somebody, or you can look at it as, hey, we're embarrassing you because we're literally taking a knee just to save you from having an extra, having an extra 7-point loss. So, big props to Sam Pittman for that decision. And let's see, get through a few of these comments. Scott McClellan, watch the up back hold us. I thought about that, but I didn't think it was a hold. It was a good shift. It was close. I think it maybe could have been called. But he also had an opportunity to tackle, and I don't remember who that was, but he had an opportunity at the tackle there. Scott McClellan need a beast running back. It would be great, and I think they'll get it. I think it's just a matter of time. That was Lane's gift scholarship to Clark. If you haven't, go to Twitter and just look up Lane Kiffin. His response to the fact that I think SEC Network tweeted out that talking about Hudson Clark and his 3 interceptions and then being put on scholarship, And then Lane Kiffin responds and retweets it with a quote, says something to the effect that we were glad we were able to help a kid out at Arkansas, basically, that Ole Miss was able to help a kid get a scholarship at Arkansas because he played so well against them and they played so bad. So it was pretty funny. Lane had some good little comments back and forth this week. There was a funny one with the Lane train that the University of Arkansas social media put out, that the Lane train crashing into a ditch, which was pretty cool, running off the rails. So we've had some fun with that. And that's a lot of fun. That's part of the fun of having Lane Kiffin in the conference, is you never know what you're going to get. Let's see. I know Pittman was being classy, but I wish we would have punched it in. I don't have any issue with the way he handled that. I thought it was a great way to go out. I mean, I think it's even more demoralizing to a team. You know, what are you going to do? I mean, Ole Miss is not going to stop us there. You know what I'm saying? Like, Ole Miss is not going to stop us. And so they're dejected as it is. And instead of punching them in the mouth one more time, you take a knee and basically say, here's your mercy. Go home now. And I thought that was just great. I thought that was beautiful. J.M. McCoy, what's up, man? Appreciate you joining me tonight. Not going to be on here a whole lot longer, but, dude, I appreciate you joining me. Yeah, how about them Hogs? A lot of excitement. Had a lot of fun, man. It's been a lot of fun watching them. Enjoyed watching them from the Mile High City this week. So, yes, 100%, man. It's been a lot of fun. Josh Wheelbanks says, I just hope Barry Odom can dial up something good on the Aggies in 2 weeks. Look, I got no concerns as to what Barry Odom's going to dial up. And the great thing is hopefully you get Dorian Gerald back. So that's another piece that you have to go after. Kellen Mond, a guy that if you pressure Mond, he's gonna fold like a cheap tent. You should get Monteric Brown back, so that adds another piece with this, what has become a juggernaut of a secondary, with pieces all over the place. I mean, you look at Greg Brooks Jr., Joe Fouché, Miles Mason's been making big plays. Kari Johnson's had some opportunities to get in there and make some plays. And you add a guy like Hudson Clark, who's just playing out of his mind. You get Monteric Brown back, who's probably your best defensive back or best corner. Excuse me, and then you got Jalen Catalon. So, I mean, I think, Will just said it, but I think the biggest key right now to that A&M game is the offense. They got 2 weeks to clean things up. Let's hope and pray that COVID doesn't affect any of these guys and that they're able to get 2 good weeks of practices in on the offensive side of the ball, because they need the rhythm. They need that. And we saw how good they can play in that Auburn game. That stretch of 5 or 6 possessions in a row was just a thing of beauty. And so we hope that we can continue to see that building. Again, this week, the disappointing thing to me was the lack of a running game. We've talked about that in the show tonight, the lack of a running game. That's very frustrating. Zach Kersey says, hope Odom stays with us after this year. Zach, join us this week. So what's tomorrow? Wednesday. So Thursday we should have a pod drop. I put the podcast up at the High on the Hogs. That's HAWGS. So wherever you listen to podcasts. Andy and I are going to discuss Barry Odom's future on the podcast tomorrow. That'll drop on Thursday. And I've got some interesting thoughts. I think I think we should maybe be a little concerned, but I'll elaborate more on the show on the podcast this week. So listen to us. Watch for it. We'll drop it on the page. So just paying attention to the page. But it'll drop on Thursday. If you'll just go to High on the Hogs, HAWGS, and subscribe, you won't miss our next episode if you're not listening already. So, but we're gonna get into that. William says, I hope Browse. Let me jump. Scott McClellan next time going bow fishing in College Station. I hope Browse can be successful play calling in 2 weeks. And let's see. I think this is the first time we've had a defense since Reggie Herring left. Yeah, I agree, JM. I mean, you look at what this team has been able to do defensively. I mean, yeah, I guess Herring would have probably been the last time this defense, especially this physical. Like, that's the key to it right now. This team is insanely physical. They play really, really well. And so, yeah, I'm with you. I would agree there. Aaron Weatherford says, I think A&M would be number 2 in the SEC West, us at 3. So let me say this, and I've caught a little bit of flack from my podcast co-host for this, and even Brandon Marcello. I was on the A&M bandwagon this year. I thought A&M would be good. I kind of trusted Kellen Mond. He looked the part against Florida, but Florida's a horrible defense. And so – I was the guy that was all about A&M this year. I hate A&M. I hate losing to them every year. The most fun I've ever, I think it's the most fun I've ever had at a football game. But was down for that the very first game at Jerry's World, and we went the first couple of years of that, and that was an absolute blast. And I love blasting A&M and getting to talk crap to their fans. I think there's a couple A&M fans that still owe me a couple 30-packs for those results. But you look at what Arkansas, what A&M brings to the table and the amount of talent that they really do have. I mean, they recruit well every year. Jimbo does a great job, and so you look at what he's been able to do, and I would have expected A&M to be a better team this year. And it's not like they've been terrible. They looked awful against Vanderbilt, but they're still playing well as of right now. But you give Barry Odom and this team 2 weeks to prepare, and I like our chances against A&M. I'm not going to give a pick right now. Obviously, there's a lot that can change between now and then. But I don't. The more I watch A&M, I mean I was wrong. They're just not as good as they should be, and that's a team that should be really good. Let's see. Scott says we are getting a whole lot of love on the SEC network. I said that during the game. It was funny. We were sitting outside of a place called Denver Biscuit Company, and this is a shameless plug. If you ever get an opportunity to be in Colorado Springs or Denver, go to Denver Biscuit Company. Thanks Andy Gates for introducing me to that place a couple years ago when we went up to Fort Collins. But because I will literally drive to Denver and eat Denver Biscuit Company and turn around and come home. It's that amazing. But anyway, I'm sitting out there waiting for an hour and a half to get in, and an Ole Miss fan, of all the people that could walk by, an Ole Miss fan walks by on Friday morning because we were getting ready to head out to the mountains, and this Ole Miss fan walks by and starts talking all kinds of mess and talking about how you think Arkansas is going to fare. And actually, if you go back and listen to the podcast, I picked Arkansas to lose this game. I thought no bumper pool and some other issues on the linebacker side would really hurt Arkansas. But I mean, look, I've been bullish on this team, but that was some kind of I was wrong, and I'm happy to admit that I was wrong. But it was. I made that comment then, just going back to the love we're getting on the SEC network. It's so awesome to see the amount of love that Arkansas is getting and be able to talk about it in a confident light, and we're not the laughing stock. We're not giving up, we're not losing, getting blown out to North Texas and giving up stupid punt returns, even though our special team is still a mess. But we're not the joke anymore. We're not the cellar dweller, as somebody else has pointed out tonight. So it's been a lot of fun to get to see Arkansas be put out there in a nice bright light instead of the dull dim lights we've been seeing over the last couple of years. And something to think about. I think and we talked about this on the show last week. I think one big key to that and that perception is how things went down against Auburn. We can all hate it. Arkansas 2-2. We all know Arkansas 3-1. The whole nation knows Arkansas 3-1. But I don't think there can be anything misstated, and I don't think it can be understated how big that loss was in the grand scheme of things because of how much of a perception turn it gave Arkansas. Guys like Kirk Herbstreit are out there for 2 weeks in a row now just gushing over Arkansas. Every national writer out there has written a story about Arkansas in the last 2 weeks, it seems like. And so, it's great. Arkansas is getting a ton of great pub. And again, I think that started with the fact that of the complete screw-up at Auburn and how the SEC screwed us. And, in a lot of ways, Arkansas is kind of the darling of the SEC right now. So it'll be cool to see how things play out the rest of the year because if Arkansas can continue to play as well as they are, they'll back up all this national attention. So, that's pretty cool. Get through a few more of these comments before we're done. Jay McCoy says, I love what CSP said about him hoping Drew and Grant have a bunch of kids to send to the U of A. Yeah, I had heard that a couple other times. But, yeah, I mean, look, there's something to be said. I know people, want to be down on the talent that's in Arkansas, but there's something to be said about the work for some of these kids that come out of the state of Arkansas. They know how hard they got to work to be noticed, and so that bleeds over when they get up there with that pride of playing for the Razorbacks, the only show in town. I mean, and don't take anything away from Arkansas State and UCA and the other programs in the state and how great they've done, but Arkansas is the big draw. It's like having the Cowboys, for you Cowboy. It's bad. My bad. Sorry, tough subject. But Arkansas is the big thing. I mean, it's like the star. I mean, you see the Razorbacks in Arkansas, and that's what you want to do. We talked to Marco Avon on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and he talked about, wanting to play for Arkansas. That's where he wanted to be. Guys like Traylon Burks and other guys. I mean, Arkansas is where these guys wanted to be. And when you get Arkansas kids that want to be here, they're going to play harder. That's just and look, there's been some guys over the last couple of years that have tried to play up this Arkansas thing. I'm not going to mention any names. I'm sure y'all know the one who I'm talking about. Not everybody's going to be cut out for it. Not everybody's got the talent for it. A guy like Grant Morgan's got a ton of talent and a ton of heart. He's just undersized, but he makes up for that being undersized by being insane, having an insane heart and insane ability, and he just wants to play for guys. He wants to play hard and he wants to get out there and make a play for the state and for the University of Arkansas. That's what we need more of, with a good mix of these high-rated guys, but that's who we need. That's what we need. So really excited about that the defense, and yeah, we would need some more guys like Morgan's to get up there. Let's see. Andy, let the record show that I'm perfect on predictions this season so far. Yeah, we'll see. Scott McCluskey's a free year, and yeah, we are America's team. No. Let's see. We are the boss hog of the state. William, you're not supposed to be saying names. So anyway, yeah, let me remind you one more time here. Special thanks to Harris Made Chef Services. Really appreciate James Harrison and for James Harris. I really appreciate him sponsoring this show and allowing us to bring this show to you guys each week. Really lots of fun. And so, again, sorry the show's a couple days late, but looks like we got plenty of people on here enjoying it. Let's see. J.M. McCoy, did you hear the announcer say during the game Clark was the first walk-on to start at Arkansas? I was like, apparently he's never heard of the Burlsworth Trophy. Yeah, I'll say this, and I would have never said this, 2 months ago, but being a color analyst or a play-by-play guy is hard. Like, you think that you're just up there talking about football, and that should be the key. But, look, I made an idiot of myself a couple weeks ago broadcasting the Sheridan-Jonesboro game, and I was really excited to see some folks from Jonesboro watching the show for a little bit earlier because I hadn't done my research on that game and didn't realize that they were playing like their third-string quarterback and that their all-state quarterback was out. So, I can hate on announcers all the time for some of their bias and some of their stupidity, but there are times when they just their research department didn't do their job or they didn't do any research headed into the game. And so, look, man, being an announcer sucks sometimes, man. It's tough. So thank goodness for good spotters and good research crews. So, I'm thankful for a guy like Will who likes to correct me with everything I say wrong. So look, dude, it's tough. So, but yeah, you're right. I mean, Burlsworth Trophy, where that originated from, I mean, come on now. That's probably one you should have known. But yeah, trust me. It's a lot harder than it looks to get up there and try to talk about that game and have all your information correct as well. So, William, the announcers suck. They do suck sometimes. I mean, maybe they should hire me. I could suck just that. I could suck that bad and cash that paycheck, I guess. Scott McClellan Clark plays with one arm tied up, and he does. I mean, the dude he's a great player, and I mean it's a lot of fun to watch the kid play and just to continue to grow. So. So I don't know what else I got, guys. I think we went through the stats. We looked at everything. And, again, I remind you to not miss the High on the Hogs, HAWGS podcast this week. Make sure that you guys have subscribed on your favorite podcast platform and listen to myself and Andy with our pod drop on Thursday. And then Tyler and I, even though we do a preview pod for the upcoming game, and obviously there's no game to preview this week, we're going to have a little bit of fun this week and also have our podcast as well. So look for that to drop on Friday. So 2 podcasts for you to listen to this week. We'll try to keep them at an hour or less. Normally doesn't happen, but we'll do our best to keep them down. Special thanks, obviously, to our sponsor, Harris Made Chef Services. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate Chef and all he does. He caters our football games. He caters our special events. You guys should give him a shout and make sure he's catering all of your events in the future. Go give him a visit at Harris-Made on Facebook. And I believe he's got his website back up, harris-made.com, I believe. But if you go to Harris-Made on Facebook, click the little link and go over. You get all the information you need. You can reach out to James and get your catering or special event taken care of. He also does private chef services. So looking for a cool date night that'll get you out of the doghouse or just impress the lady or, hey, impress the man in your life, then give give Chef James Harris a shout and let him talk to him about his private chef services. Let's see. How about everyone telling Tebow his apology wasn't accepted? He won't be laughing when we play Florida. Yeah, screw Tebow. Yeah. Anyway, it was great. I did see that. Terry, appreciate it. Love the podcast. Scott McClellan, we will be bowling. I agree. And it's not just because every team gets to go bowling this year. It's because Arkansas is good enough, and Arkansas would. If this was a 12-game season, I'm willing to say right now for sure Arkansas would get to the 6-win mark. I don't know if we'd have beat Notre Dame. I think we'd have played them extremely closely. But Arkansas would get to 6 wins this year. Little doubt in my mind. This team would be absolutely at that 6-win mark. So this isn't just that COVID special where Arkansas gets to go to a bowl game because everybody gets it. Everybody gets an invitation this year. I think this is a team that's good enough to get to 6+ wins in a 12-game season and go to a bowl. So, I think Arkansas should take pride in that. So, one more reminder, make sure you guys join us this week at www.arprepfb.com. It can also be watched right here on our Facebook channel, or head over to YouTube and follow us. Subscribe over on our YouTube channel, Natural State Sports. This week's matchup, and we'll have a couple of big-time D1 prospects in Andrew Chambly and Nico Davalier from Maumelle on each side of the ball, going up against a good Whitehall squad in Maumelle. And, really looking forward to calling that game. So you guys make sure you watch us. And if you're a business in Maumelle, if you know of a business in Maumelle or the Whitehall area, somewhere in that area, or if you just want to sponsor those streams, please hit us up in our DMs and let us know that you would love to sponsor one of these streams that we have coming up. Working on another huge matchup for next Friday, the 30th. That should be a whole lot of fun if we can get that contact made. So hopefully we'll have that matchup for you guys next week as well, and then we'll start looking towards the playoffs. So if you've got a favorite high school that you follow that does not have streaming available right now, and they're going to be in the playoffs, give us a shout that as well, so that we know who to contact and try to get some playoff matchups lined up as well. So again, special thanks to Lost Pizza Company in Benton, as well as Heart of Grace Outdoors for sponsoring those streams each week. We really appreciate them, but we've got some other sponsorship opportunities on those live streams each Friday night. So give us a shout and we can talk more about that. Other than that, guys, I don't think I have a whole lot else. You know what I do have this week? I don't have an epic rant that I can screw up. Let me get rid of this, get this out of my way. But I do have my music ready tonight, so I won't screw that up again. And let's hop over here. And let me make sure that's down. So let's see. Scott asked about 3 and 2A schools, and I'll respond to that real quick. So one issue that we have with 2 and 3A schools and being able to stream there is space. So with COVID, space is at a premium in press boxes, and so a lot of times there's just not enough room for us to get into those facilities. Even at Sheridan, a 6A school, we have to broadcast from the stands, which just makes things a little more difficult. The broadcasts don't go quite as well sometimes. We absolutely love being down at Sheridan. It's an absolute blast. Hope to get down there maybe one more time this year if we can. I know they got homecoming coming up this week. Wish we could be there to stream, but obviously got another game lined up. But we love the folks at Sheridan. But some of these smaller schools just have just too small facilities and no room to be able to set us up. And the other thing to keep in mind too is, these schools all have, agreements usually with a radio station of some sort who carries their games. And because of that, we have to kind of be careful not to step on any toes, because a lot of advertising has already been paid for in those. So there's a little bit that goes into it, but we have looked at some options for 2 and 3A schools, and if we could find one that had the room for us, we would be there in a heartbeat. So, because that's some really, really great football that's played in those divisions, and they're a lot of fun to watch. So, but anyway, guys, I appreciate everybody watching. Appreciate you guys sharing the stream, sharing the show, and we'll be back after the bye week. We'll be back with another Harris Made Chef Services live fan reaction show. So you guys make sure that you're subscribed on YouTube or here on Facebook, however you're watching us. And again, High on the Hogs, HAWGS. That's the podcast you need. We actually got a ranking this week. I think Will said we're like in the top 200 for sports podcasts this past week. So super excited about that. Maybe you guys can help us and go over there and give us some downloads and get us in the top 100. So please, High on the Hogs, HAWGS, and get over there and subscribe, and then download each week's episode and listen to us, or each week's 2 episodes that we'll have each week, and just join us and enjoy the banter and the content. So until after the A&M win, I guess this is the last time I'll be talking to you here. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I'll come up with something crazy to come up with here in the next couple of days for next week. But appreciate everybody joining us. And until our next episode, Woo Pig. Harris Made Chef Services and Chef James Harris is the go-to for our catering needs at Natural State Sports, and they should be yours as well. Whether it's tailgating, a wedding celebration, or a simple Wednesday night meal that you don't have to prepare, Chef James builds the platform for an incredible dining experience. And with a wide variety of styles and influences, you can be sure Chef will have the perfect menu ready for whatever your needs are. Oh, and by the way, fellas, looking for a romantic date night idea? Chef James offers private chef services as well. Think about it, just you, your significant other, and a beautifully prepared meal all in the comfort of your own home. Check out Harris Made Chef Services now on Facebook at Harris-Made, or give Chef a call at 609-816-5629 to discuss your culinary needs.